We are live. I want to say thank you for everybody today for joining me. I'm Debbie A. Anderson, and today, Monday at noon Eastern, we raise the vibration and share the positive. And every week, I'm joined by some amazing vibrational guests here on YouTube Live. So before we begin, if you are the first one to show up in the feed today, you get to choose which deck the affirmation for today comes from. So the I am sacred or the I am vibrational. So just type in either green or orange into the feed below. And while I'm waiting for that, I'm going to light the candle to set our intention. Whoops, she says here. My angel candle's all lit, so we have the intent of being here and being part of it. So before we get rolling and somebody pops up on the feed there, I just want to say that my weekly reading is up already and it's on YouTube, ready for you to view whenever you want. And it's actually called Black Friday. Yep, you heard correctly, Black Friday, because we do have Thanksgiving in the US this coming weekend, but there's a lot of information in there and there's a deal in there. So I'm hopeful that you get to choose to view when you are ready to do so. So Sandy, it looks like you're going to get to do the choice today, whether it's the green or the orange.
Well, I'm going to choose the green.
The green. Let me go. Green for go. Let's just see. Oops. And there's the card. I love it. Okay. It just came up really, really quickly. Card number 20. I am sacred. I am sacred where I should be because my soul is vibrationally there. And of course, we need to be today. And the compass is connected to everything because the conversation today is spotting hidden allergies. And my guest, Sandy Wright, is going to give you some insights on what she does. But before we do that, let me introduce her formally. So Sandy's been helping people recover their health. I love that. Not re-heal or anything, to recover their health for over 25 years. She's a registered acupuncturist and studied homeopathy for 6 years. She has traveled all over the world learning from the very best. And I love that because we sometimes tend to assume that everything is just here in North America, where there's so much everywhere across the world. She specializes in treating allergies and digestive issues to restore your health using a variety of techniques such as NAET, biokinetics, TBM, and more. Sandy knows our bodies are designed to be healthy, and it's her goal to get you there as fast as possible while teaching you how to maintain your health, which is very important. You're not just going to fix it. It's like, here's how you can do it yourself. And there are many underlying issues such as emotions, heavy metals, pathogens, etc. Sandy will uncover those and help your body restore to its original balance. And I'm very blessed because her business, Right Health, is literally where I live, right here in the Windsor, Ontario area. And if you want to connect with her afterwards, or you're watching this and we're no longer live, her website is below. So thank you, Sandy, for taking time out of your busy practice to share with us today. So let's get rolling. We were talking a little bit before we went live to do with allergies and how they can affect us. So I'll let you just dive into that and sit back and learn.
Thank you, Debbie. And thank you for having this space to share information and help other people get healthy. The first question is, what is an allergy? You know, and I'll be brief about it, but mainstream medicine would say it's an antibody response. It could be an IgE, whereas you get an anaphylactic reaction. It could be an IgG, which is a very delayed reaction. So you eat something yesterday and then you notice it today or tomorrow.
Right.
And there's others. But in our context, an allergy is any negative reaction by the body to something. That's it. If you react negatively to anything, so something you're eating, something you're breathing, even something you're thinking, planetary shifts, wind. If you react badly to wind, cold wind, or barometric pressure changes are causing a headache,
Yeah.
it's an allergy. So
I must admit, I have what I call environmental, because if the weather changes very quickly, or I always like the old farmer that says, oh, the pain in my elbow, I know there's rain on the way, kind of thing. For me, it's around my head area, and I feel this sort of tightness coming when there's an atmospheric pressure change. So yes, I can relate to that.
And even, you reacting, we see people reacting to, this year's flu virus,
yes,
or a cold, but still in our world, it's a negative reaction to a virus or a bacteria. So we can even work with things like that.
Yeah, I have noticed, and especially you brought up about the flu season and things like that, that all the stores have these hand sanitizers that they suggest, invite, compel you to use as you go into the store. And I've noticed that, including myself, that when people are pumping that and putting it onto their hands, they sometimes sneeze. And I know there's a high amount of alcohol in there. So, I tend to sort of stay back. If I'm doing it down here, or, I've tried to bring in essential oils and just say I'm putting peppermint oil onto my hands, which is better than hand sanitizer. So in the places I know that they're going to insist, I usually put gloves on and don't touch it. But yeah, I've noticed that people are sneezing due to the hand sanitizers.
Yeah, and they're developing rashes and eczema.
Yes,
and you're destroying the bacteria. Your skin is covered in bacteria to protect you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a bit of a problem. It's, if I can suggest washing your hands, over hand sanitizer, do it.
Yeah. And that's something, when this all started coming down the tubes and people were saying, wash your hands, I'm like, don't people do that anyway? That I grew up in a household in England where, my mum would scream as soon as us kids would come piling through the door at the end of the day, go wash your hands. Or we would sit down for supper or breakfast. Have you washed your hands? It's like this whole, it would be hands and behind the ears that she was always checking. And, we laughed about it as we grew older, but now of course they're like, oh, okay. So hand washing was something we grew up with, but not everybody does that. So
yeah, hand washing is important. And even energetically, I was always taught, not in between clients, to wash your hands all the way to your elbows, even if it was with plain water, because we're taking on other people's energy.
Yes.
It's not just, viruses and bacteria and things. So I wanted to talk about hidden food allergies, and I'll go over a lot of the common ones that you may or may not be familiar with, but I also want to go over the fun ones. I say fun because these are things that you would never think of.
Right.
What an allergy to vitamin C might look like. It's not common, but it happens, right? And like I said, we can react to anything under the sun. So you might be reacting to your vitamins, your minerals, but the common ones, if you're suffering from congestion, phlegm, eczema, constipation, diarrhea, IBS, those are very common dairy allergies, right? And we might not, because we're congested all the time, we're not associating it with dairy. It might get worse if you live with a cat, or they're harvesting things, that kind of thing. If you're suffering from back pain, fatigue, you get super sleepy at some point during the day, you're having thyroid issues, that's probably wheat, right? Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, wheat is a dangerous allergy because it can affect our gut lining, and it can cause, we call it gut permeability. So the lining in our gut, the cells, the junctions, what happens is they get a little weak, and then you have openings, and then proteins, food, undigested food can go through, and it can cause autoimmune diseases.
Wow.
Because your brain is like, whoa, that's not supposed to be there, right? And so it engages your immune system. And then you end up with, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, lupus, all kinds of issues.
Yeah.
So
there seem to be a lot more people with IBS issues in the last, I would say in the last maybe 5 to 10 years. It's almost like when somebody sort of says, it's like, yeah, okay, IBS, there's like another person. So
and dissect IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. It's irritable. Why is it irritable? Because you're putting things in there that it doesn't like. Right?
Yeah.
I actually just finished 4 days of Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within.
Yes.
And I loved it. But one of the guys on there was talking about health, and he used this analogy, which was fabulous. He said, sometimes an allergy or any health issue is like a little feather. You just have a sense like, maybe not so good, but we keep doing it, right?
Yeah.
And then we get hit by a block of wood, right? We still ignore it, and then we get hit by a brick and we still ignore it. We know deep down, we know what's affecting us, but it's so much easier just to blow it off.
Yeah. It's like, it's nothing.
Ignore it, keep going, because we're busy, right? Yeah. We're not going to, most of us don't take a moment to go, oh, what did I just eat? Because that's not feeling right.
Yeah.
And it was funny, actually. We had to prepare all our food before the weekend because it was intensive. It was 9 a.m. till midnight every day for 4 days straight. They had a 130-minute break. And so I had bought, some fruit. I had made a big pot of soup, vegetable soup, and so on. But I did buy this bag of, it was edamame beans, which are soy.
Oh, I love those.
With cranberries, pumpkin seeds, and almonds. And, I'm eating a few handfuls. The next day, I don't know if you can see anything, but I can just feel the start of a rash. And I'm like,
oh, wow.
That's the only thing I've had different. I don't normally eat that stuff. So I haven't had a chance, I just got back to work. I haven't had a chance to figure out exactly what it was. Yeah. I'm suspecting the soy, but it could have been the who knows, right? I had that once a few years ago when I was trying to get rid of dairy, cream in my coffee. And I started making raw cashew milk from scratch.
Oh, that's a lot of work.
No, not that much actually. But so I started using that, and I was using that every day. And after about a month, I had the same thing, a little bit of a rash there. And I thought, what is it that I'm doing, right? And I realized I started looking at my Eat Right for Your blood type, and cashews is on the list of don't eat for O types. And because I can eat cashews, I do it, once in a while. I don't do it every day, but if you do it every day, this is what an intolerance is called. You have a barrel and you eat a little bit, not an issue. You eat a lot and then it overflows, right? So we have, if you're looking at Eat Right for Your blood type, there's certain foods you can have once in a blue moon, and then there's foods they act like medicine for your body. But so as far as hidden food allergies, quite often we have no idea because sometimes we have too many food allergies. And so we generally don't feel well. We're tired. We have a hard time waking up. We don't have, we just don't have the energy. Sometimes we have brain fog. Sometimes we other, probably gas and bloating. Those are very common symptoms. What's that?
I said all the delightful things that aren't really appreciated by others around you.
But your body's trying to tell you something.
Yes.
It's screaming, please look at this. Because I'm telling you, your body is designed to be happy and healthy. That's its inherent design. Like your software. Your software, you get a little glitch. What do? You press the restart button because it's designed to work perfectly.
Exactly.
We get glitches. We inherit glitches. We acquire glitches. And we get so many, and we think, oh, I'm so healthy, and then we get sick, and we're like, where did that come
Where
from?
did that come from? Yes.
But it wasn't one thing. It was all those dominoes, and finally your body was like, that's it, I'm done.
Yeah.
Right? And so we have to change our lifestyle. It doesn't have to be a huge change. We do 2 millimeter change every day.
Wow.
A 1 degree change. In a whole year, you've changed 365.
Wow. Yes.
If that were possible. Yeah. So it doesn't take big, huge changes, but with my clients, I'll tell them, what's the worst thing in your diet? Or I'll have them keep a food journal, and I'll look, what's the worst thing in your diet? Is it Tim Hortons?
Yeah.
Is it iced cappuccinos? Is it, we just look at the worst thing. The other thing is where are the vegetables?
Oh, yeah.
Where are the vegetables? Half your plate should be vegetables.
It's funny, when I first came to Canada, I love vegetables. And when I was in the UK, I had somebody that was growing vegetables. I was getting fresh vegetables and things like that. So for me, I have, and people that came to have dinner with me for the very first time are like, how come you've got like 6 different vegetables here? And one of them, and then there would be potato or whatever, with it. Because I said, what do you mean? And they're like, that's lots of vegetables here. It's either pasta or potato. I'm like, and that's it? Where are you getting all your nourishment from? Where are you getting all your vitamins from?
Yes.
For me, I can just load up my plate with vegetables and very little meat or fish or whatever the part is with it, because that's what I enjoy, and which is really good. And so that's funny you were saying about the vegetables, because it was a little bit of a culture shock for me coming over, and and I think it was always the concept in the UK, your meat and veg. That was it. It was very plain style cooking, pasta and things like that. You didn't get much of, because it was, out of the norm. You would get your meat and 3 veg kind of thing. That was what I grew up with in my family, meat and 3 veg. So it's funny you brought up about the vegetables, which is good.
Well, we always tend to go back to how we were raised, right? And if junk food was how you were raised, Kraft dinners and chicken nuggets, that's always what we go back to. And that's where the little changes come in really handy, right? If you can start, I have a lot of kids in my practice, and I have them write down everything, and I say, well, where is your body getting nutrition?
Right? Yes.
Show me on your food journal, where is your body getting nutrition, right? Because they've got no vegetables.
Yes. Yeah.
Eat some broccoli, eat some hummus, eat some carrots. It's not complicated. But I'll tell you one thing I have noticed, and I don't buy everything organic, but the things that I eat the most of, carrots, potatoes, sweet potatoes, broccoli. If you do a taste test, taste the broccoli, the regular broccoli, and taste the organic. You'll notice there's a bitter chemical taste to the regular broccoli. And I can see why kids wouldn't eat it, because they do have a very, sensitive palate.
Right.
So if you want your kids to eat vegetables, I would suggest, for the big ones like that, get organic. Yeah. Because there is a huge taste difference.
I know when we were visiting Chris's son some years ago, they only buy organic meat. And I was one of those, and I was sitting on the fence a little bit and going, well, is there really any difference in the taste? And I don't know if it was just the steak that they had or whatever, but I said to Chris, I think we're going to go organic because of the flavor. It was so much more flavor. But then again, from growing and having what I call fresh veggies from the garden, I know the difference in the taste. I know the difference in the smell. And, and we've only got a very small balcony, but I'll usually grow tomatoes and all my herbs and things like that, and things that I can put into pots, kind of thing, and then willingly take the residue that people say I've got way too many peppers, or I got way too many of this. I'm like, I will purchase, come collect, or do whatever, because it's it's nice. It's a difference. You can definitely smell and taste the difference. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So, honestly, most of our symptoms are allergy based. We don't, North America, we don't have, on a whole, like, let's look at Africa, where they're starving, or they don't have clean water, or they don't have clean sanitation. They get real diseases. They get malaria, they get jaundice, and those kind of real parasites and things like that. North America, almost all of our problems happen because of what we're putting in our mouth. Right? We're causing inflammation. We're eating dairy, we're eating wheat, and in my world, sugar is the absolute worst, because it messes with your metabolism. If you can't go 6 hours or 12 hours without eating and not be shaky or hangry, you've got a blood sugar problem, right? And this is going to lead to a lot of other problems. So we need to get back on track. We need to be putting, nutrition in our body, whole foods, blueberries, bananas, carrots, broccoli. That is our diet. Our bodies are not designed. I was just watching, actually, if you go on YouTube and you type in burning cheese, you're going to see people taking the Kraft singles and lighting them on fire.
Yeah. That was a bit disconcerting, and those cheesy Wotsits, or whatever they call, some kind of puffy kind of thing that people can set them on fire. Like, oh my gosh, and you're ingesting that. So
why is that a surprise?
Yeah,
right?
I suppose.
Why is that a surprise? We know it's never going to go bad.
Yeah.
You don't have to put cheese slices, Kraft cheese slice cheese. Actually, I don't even think they're called cheese anymore. I think they're called cheese food. But you can leave it on your you can leave it on your counter. It'll never go bad. McDonald's French fries will never change. They'll never get moldy. They'll never rot, right? And this is a test. If you're not sure if you should eat it, ask yourself, is this going to go rotten?
Yeah.
If it does, then eat it.
I remember.
But if it never goes rotten, don't put that in your body.
You saying that, I can remember Chris being on tour on his own, and he came back and he had some Wonder Bread, some whole wheat Wonder Bread. And I said, how long have you had this? He said, oh, about 2 weeks. And I'm like, it should be moldy. And he said, yeah, that's what I thought. I said, oh my gosh, you should throw it away. It's probably...
why it's called Wonder Bread.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to diss any manufacturers, but because I thought, well, you've been traveling, and how old is this bread? I don't know, a couple of weeks old. For me, if my bread lasts 4 days or something like that, then I'm starting to question what additives have been placed into it. So
I don't know if you've ever made bread, but it only requires flour, yeast,
sugar,
water,
and salt, I think it is.
And salt.
Yeah.
You don't, and in fact, you don't even have to put yeast in there. You can create your own starter by just mixing flour and water together. The yeast in the air will find its way in there, and then you can create your own Windsor sourdough bread or whatever, starting out hopefully with organic, whatever you're going to use. But the point is, Wonder Bread and Dempster's and all those big brands, they have to travel thousands of miles and sit on a shelf. Look at the ingredients. Right after those first 3 or 4 ingredients, none of those things should be.
If I can't pronounce them, I don't want to eat them.
That's right.
I must admit, we're very lucky because we have a bakery that's local to us in Leamington that does, fresh bread every day. Nice. But I found that a lot of breads I cannot eat because there's so much sugar in them. They're very, very sweet. And I have this sort of thing when, say, if I'm eating something savory, I want it to be savory. And if I'm eating something sweet, I want it to be sweet. So I've noticed that, as you say, a lot of these reconstituted breads, as I call them, have a lot of sugar in them. And for me, the flavor doesn't do anything for me. I want bread to taste like bread if I'm eating it. And, you know, I want carrots to taste like carrots and smell like carrots and that kind of thing. So,
but it's an easy way to get people addicted to your product. And if you look at products, they have more and more and more sugar in them. That's for the addictive quality, right? Yeah.
That was something when my son was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes some years ago. He was saying to me, you know, you've really got to look at, if sugar's in the first 3 ingredients, then you shouldn't be buying that product because it is that, you know, that kind of thing, or salt, you know. So it depends. He said, you know, where it's low in sugar, it's high in salt. And if it's high in sugar, then it's low, like the two opposites. So it became an education. And I think this is the thing, we buy the product. And I was saying to you before we started that, you know, I picked up a product that as a child growing up, we had that in the UK. And there's obviously other additives in it that don't react well to my body. And so it's now dumped kind of thing because I can't eat it. So we need to, as you say, be very aware of what, if our body's responding or reacting to it, then there's something not quite right. So
food is designed to be our medicine, and it's designed to give us nutrients. If you, before you eat, just do a general overall scan. What's my energy like?
Yeah.
Do I have any discomfort in my body? And what's my mood like? And then eat whatever it is you're going to eat. And 20 minutes later, do the same scan.
Yes.
Right? We're supposed to feel more energetic after eating.
Yes.
Not tired.
Yeah.
If you're tired after you eat, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
I think this is why in Europe, meals take so long, because you'll have something to eat and then people will talk and have 20 minutes before they have anything else to eat. And that's something that, you know, I try and remind people. It's like, oh, I'm going to go and get more of that. I'm like, give yourself 20 minutes because it hasn't actually reached where it needs to reach. So, and then if you're still hungry, then go and get more. But yeah, if we sort of.
Well, and that's a good point too, right? If you're eating junk, you're going to keep being hungry. You eat French fries and you're going to keep eating French fries, and you're going to be looking at the bottom of the packet, looking for the salt and licking the salt. You eat a banana and you're kind of full. You're satiated. You might eat 2 bananas, but you're good to go because your body's getting nutrition, right? So that hunger thing stops.
Right. Yes.
And honestly, I'll tell you, not eating is healthier.
Yeah.
If you can do some fasting and just, you know, drink some water, if you can, you know, but fasting, giving your body a break, because the problem is we're putting, you know, there was another analogy on the weekend. He said, our mouths are a lot bigger than the hole it goes out of.
That is actually true.
Yeah. So it was funny. So yeah, a fistful, that's how big your stomach is, you know? That's all you need to eat for a meal.
Yeah.
And make it as nutritious as you can. If you could do that, you'd feel so much better.
I can remember many years ago when I was on a diet, and the concept then was put a smaller plate out and fill it. We have bigger and bigger and bigger plates. And when I look at the size of the plates when we were kids growing up, they weren't the size of the dinner plates that are today, which have been created to put more on there rather than less. So that's quite funny. The fist, well, not funny, but the correctness of the fistful. And it's one thing that we've found in the last year, I think 6 or 8 months, is that if we've had a good breakfast, eggs or something that is sustainable in our belly, the chances are we're not hungry. I can go probably to 4-5 o'clock before my body says, feed me. So again, for people, and sometimes we'll just have something at lunchtime. We haven't had anything in the morning. And then by the time it gets to 6 o'clock, it's like, I really don't want anything else. So we've only eaten once a day or most twice a day without snacking in between. So it's important, as you say, if you keep on refilling that orifice, you're not getting the nutrition that your body needs and the energy. So it's going to cause lots of problems.
Yeah. And every single person's body is completely different.
Yeah.
We just don't work the same way,
Yeah.
There's so many different factors that we have to take into consideration.
Mm-hmm. And of course, as if we're getting unhealthy or we're getting sick or we're getting those, then we really should be, as you say, look at what you're ingesting, whether it's your thought processes, the physical, and ascertain it from there. And of course, when, especially these days, because of the situation that's going on, that people are scared to sneeze, and it could just be an allergy. It's not the first symptom to flu or something like that. And I think people are getting more hypersensitive to not wanting to do that. I was in a store recently and a lady sneezed, and she quickly said, oh, it's not, and I never even concluded that. I assumed that maybe you've gone from the outside to the inside and it's caused you to sneeze, or maybe you've got allergies. And she looked at me with almost like relief on her face of,
everybody's afraid of being persecuted. Absolutely.
Oh gosh, it's absolutely horrible at the moment. And we're very blessed where we are, that the majority of places that we go, it's good. But I can understand that sort of the concern with it, and it was almost like this relief on her face, like, oh, somebody's not going to tell me off.
And this is a perfect reason. This is the perfect time. If there was any time in history that said, this is the best time to get healthy, this is your best defense. Yes. We know that people who are overweight, who have asthma, who have health issues, they're the ones that are going to go first. Yes. Right. And I've been hearing, people talk, they call it COVID eating or COVID drinking. Right. And it's like, but isn't that the opposite of where you want to go? Yes. Don't you want to be exercising, getting out in the fresh air, taking your vitamin C, your vitamin D, right? Because that's your best protection, your own immune system. Nothing is going to save you except for your own immune system. Yeah. And, this is the time to invest in your health. Go outside, get some sunshine. Yeah.
And I was sort of saying that to people in the sort of the early point when we were told, not to go out. I'm like, well, nobody's going to stop me from going out for a walk. If they're going to arrest me or fine me for doing that, well, so be it. But I'm not going to stay, and become a couch potato and, not do things that, allow the sunshine to hit my skin kind of thing. And we still do. And of course, we sort of get winterized, if you like, for going out. But we're very lucky with having the lake to go for a walk along there on the beach and something like that, and feel the wind hitting your face, and actually inhaling what I call ozone, because I can smell the ozone at the moment. It's very strong out there. And so there's no way I'm going to be told, no, I can't go out for a walk, because to me that's more important than anything else, that freedom to be able to do that and go and sit down on the sand there or the grass and just absorb the sunshine. So
I had a couple of stories I wanted to share about stranger allergies.
Yes.
I recently had a young lady, probably around 10 years old. And she came in with severe leg pain. She'd been to every doctor, every specialist. She came in wearing a boot. just so she could, try and manage the pain in her leg.
Oh
And
my
nobody could
gosh.
figure out what was wrong with her. So I have, a few little techniques that I was sure were going to work. So I did those on her. She came back, no change, which was surprising, but I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to go to, I have a system we go through, and, it's pretty much fail proof. So I just thought, okay, well, let's see what happens. And so we were treating her vitamins and minerals, and I think it was she came in on her 4th visit, and her pain was 85% better. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at her chart and see what the last treatment was. And the last treatment included vitamin C. And I knew it was vitamin C, and I'll tell you why I knew. So we cleared vitamin C completely. Her leg pain completely disappeared and never came back.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's, even for me, it's a surprising symptom. It's not something I've heard about, and I do a lot of research. I've never heard of vitamin C causing any pain. But years ago, when I first started practicing, we had the client laying face down, and when we were doing their treatments. And so I had the vitamin C vial in my hand, and I had just I was, I think, walking around the client or whatever, but the vitamin C vial was on top of the client. And she started going, ow, ow, ow. And I kind of pulled back, right? She was like, oh, that's weird. That's gone. And I'm like, So I put the vitamin C over her body again. She's like, ow, ow.
And it wasn't even touch you. Wow.
No, I wasn't even touching her. I was probably like, about a foot off her body. So I was like, I'll be right back. So I went and got my colleague. I'm like, come here. You have to see this, right?
Yeah, they're not
because the client had no idea what I was doing, right?
Yeah.
So I hold the vial above her body again, and she's like, ow. And I'm like, how weird is that, right? So we treated her for vitamin C, and she was fine. But that's when I first saw that vitamin C allergy causing pain. I'm like, what the heck? So, and here's another one.
That is strange.
Yeah. And so you would think that nobody would ever be allergic to water, right? It's next to oxygen. It's fundamental for our health.
Yeah.
But I've had several people be allergic to water. I had one lady. The first time I had a client who came in, and she had a lot of digestive issues. So we cleared food, and she was 50% better. But she still had symptoms. We cleared food combinations, typically dairy and wheat together, like pizza, those kinds of things.
Right. Yes.
So we cleared that, and she was 80% better. But she came in one day, and she was like, she says, even if I drink water, I get diarrhea. And I'm like, ooh, that's interesting. Let me check water, right? I checked hydrogen and oxygen. And sure enough, she was allergic to water. So we cleared that. She was fine. I had another lady that came in, and she was just so sick feeling. I said, describe the feeling that you feel, describe it. And she says, I feel like I'm under the sea with all this pressure of the ocean on me. And that was a water allergy.
Wow.
So it was so severe. And when we do NAET treatments, there's an avoidance period after the treatment. You have to avoid it. So when we have to avoid water, we just put a little lemon juice in it, or we put a little tea, so they're still hydrated, right? But then the brain doesn't associate it with water by itself.
Oh, right. So it's okay if it's something's added to it.
Yeah. And so we were able to clear that allergy so she could. I had another client who came in who was fasting, and he was doing a long fast, just water. But he came in after a couple weeks and he said, he says, I don't know what it is. He says, I've tried reverse osmosis, I've tried spring water, I've tried distilled water. And he brought all these waters, these different waters that he was drinking. It was the plastic.
That it was
He was
in.
the plastic bottle was giving him acid reflux. He thought it was the water, but it was all the water he brought in was in plastic. And it was the plastic and not the water.
Mm.
So, you know, sometimes we have these strange symptoms and we, you know, how else would we know, right?
Yes. Wow, that's quite interesting. I know for me, when I get what I call that, sometimes that stuffiness in the morning when I wake up, if I go and stand in the shower and just let the warm water cover my face here, it clears within moments. And you know, somebody said, well, maybe you were born you were in water as a baby, and that would have been, you know, you're in your mummy's womb kind of thing. But I said, yeah, it's just strange. I can just stand there and just let this warm water.
Let me explain that. So when you have allergies in your house, dust, mold, animals, scented products you're using, and you're getting congested and you're vertical, your sinuses are draining.
Right.
But when you're horizontal and you're exposed all night long, it's just building up and building up and building up, which is why it comes out easily in the shower and this. Yeah.
Well, we did this whole thing.
If you wake up congested in the morning.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if you're waking up congested in the morning, it's something in your house.
Okay, because that was something I was going to ask you, because we had somebody said, well, maybe your ducts need cleaning, you know. And so we got a guy in and he said, I've never seen such clean ducts. I've never seen it. So he said, I'm not going to waste your money. And he left. So I said, well, maybe it's the dust factor. So we went through and Chris very did all sort of vacuumed up any what I call potential dust. And of course, in a bedroom, as soon as you've got bed linen, it creates dust and, you know, you've got this flurry. And I don't have perfumed products. I use essential oils and that's it. But yeah, just every so often. And of course, I'm a face planter when I sleep. I'm a face down kind of person. So I wondered if I'm ingesting from, I've got one of these hypoallergenic pillows or whatever you call it. So I'm going, well, it shouldn't be from that, but it's only every so often. It's not a regular thing that I wake up every morning and I'm bunged up. But so I should take note of what's going on from outside, whether it again is atmospheric. But I know for me personally, if I go from hot to cold or cold to hot, this nasal passage does its own little thing going on there. So
that's right. Temperature changes. You go outside into the cold, you get a runny nose. You come into a warm house, you get a runny nose. The barometric pressure changes. A full moon is another common one. Season changes, not just temperature, but season changes is another allergy. So, you know, this is how a lot of allergies start. You know, you're under stress in some way at the same time as being exposed to something. And so the part of the brain says that creates allergies is survival, right? So it'll say, well, you know, what are you doing? Or where are you? You know, so is there a lot of pollen in the air? Are you eating pasta? You know, while you're in that state, right? So, we can develop a lot of allergies like that. You know, the best time to eat, you know, you want to relax, you want to eat slow, you want to bless your food, you know, and you want to eat real food, right? I mean, you don't want to do your body. You've only got one body, right? You want this one to last. You don't want to die.
I don't want it wearing out this quickly.
What's that?
I don't want it wearing out too quickly.
No, exactly. I want to, you know, I want to fall off a mountain or drown, you know, when I'm 90 or 100. I don't want to die because I don't feel well and I can't move. And that's silly, right? I mean, the best investment you could ever make is in feeling good and being
Yeah.
healthy.
Yeah, definitely. So we're sort of coming up to the top of the hour kind of thing. So is there anything else you want to share?
Let me share what we do and what we can offer
please
here.
Do.
Because you may not be aware of our services or that getting rid of allergies is even possible.
Yes.
Because, in mainstream medicine, it's like allergy pills. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you first come into the office, we'll take your health history, we'll see what's going on, and then we test you on a computer. So we do a biomeridian stress assessment. It's a non-invasive test. It takes the whole appointment takes about 45 minutes. We're going to test all your vitamins and minerals because, quite often we don't even realize we're not absorbing or using. We might have a super healthy diet, but we're still not well, right? And that's because our body's not absorbing or using those nutrients properly. So we want to definitely check that because that's, the foundation to good health.
Right.
We check everything you're eating and everything you're breathing generally in a day. So we do that overall. When you come back for your next appointment, we'll go over your results together. I'll explain how the treatments work, how the body works. We're going to start keeping track of your food because we do allergy elimination. But honestly, if you're not in a healthy state, you're going to develop new allergies, right? You have to get rid of the cause. And there's underlying causes to allergy. Their blood sugar is a problem. Having too much yeast in your system is a problem. There's underlying issues that we want to dig and find so that you can experience good health again. And I have so many clients that come in here that, it's been 20 years or 30 years. For some people, they've never felt as good as they feel now because they grew up with allergies or they grew up with a crummy diet. And now, at least their body's functioning the way it's supposed to function. So once we do that, we can start on the treatments. The treatments are non-invasive. It's mostly acupressure along the spine. Feel a little click on the back of your head where you're stimulating the thalamus gland. We're stimulating nerves. We're stimulating meridians, which are acupuncture points. So we're combining Eastern and Western medicine in our treatments to reprogram the brain not to react to that substance. So, if you're eating carrots and you got an itchy throat or itchy lips or, we want you to be able to eat a carrot. Carrots are, great food. So we want to get rid of that reaction. We want your body to look at a carrot and go, yeah, carrots, right?
So
instead of, oh no.
Yeah. So with kids with nut allergies then?
Yes. So here's the disclaimer with anaphylactic reactions.
Right.
We will treat them, but not so that you can eat them again. Right? We just want to get you to a point where, you're not going to have an anaphylactic reaction.
Yes.
Doesn't mean, and there's no guarantees, of course. There's no guarantees in life. No. I have had a lot of clients come back and say, yeah, I can eat these things again. But, I'm telling you, don't do it anyway.
Yeah.
Right? I've never had to call an ambulance. I've never had anybody, have a terrible reaction. But we have to play smart too, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the average person is about 8 to 12 visits to get everything on their list treated. If they have chronic issues, then we'll dig deeper. We'll specifically work on those things. Some people have chronic arthritis or they have autoimmune diseases, thyroid issues, and we can work on those things. But overall, we've got to get a good foundation of basic health. And that includes, all the basics we keep hearing about. We need to make this much change. I'll tell people, like for me, just as far as fitness goes, I'm like everybody. I go to the gym, I stop going to the gym. I start running, and I stop doing that. And, after years of this, it's like, okay, that's not working because I hate starting the gym again. After you've stopped for a while. It's like the most painful.
It's hard.
It's horrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I did, and this is my, this is what I ask people. Make a minimum commitment. Something you can do for the rest of your life, no matter what.
Yeah.
A minimum commitment, right? I'm not saying go to the gym 3 days a week. Walk around the block.
Yes. Yeah.
That's it. Walk around the block 3 days a week.
Yeah.
Right? You can do more if you want, but the minimum commitment, you have to commit.
Yes.
Just like a marriage. I'm going to do this. I'm going to brush my teeth.
I'm going to work on this.
At least once a day, right? I'm committed to that. So you have to make at least a minimum commitment. For me, I started, I noticed I was losing my posture, and I know, if you start losing your posture, you start inviting chronic pain into your life.
Yeah.
So I decided to see a personal trainer once a week. Monday mornings, I just went, and I will do that for the rest of my life. I'm committed to that. Do I go out and do more? Yeah, sometimes. I love walking. I love hiking. I love doing things like that. But do I feel guilty if I don't do any of that? Not at all. I've done my minimum.
Yeah.
So you make your minimum something even if you're sick, like some way, somehow you'll be able to fulfill that minimum. But you have to do a minimum.
Yeah.
Right? You can't do nothing.
You have to start somewhere.
That's right.
We live in a condominium, and so I tend to take the stairs more than I do the elevator.
Good.
Because that way, especially the walking up the stairs, I've really got to put energy into it. And if I'm huffing and puffing at the top, because I've also got 2 bags of groceries, I got to remember to throw those into the elevator and then pick them up on the floor I'm on. But if I'm doing that, then I know that obviously something's wrong that day with me. So why am I not feeling why am I huffing and puffing as much, or all those things? So, but again, if you just do it every time you come in, walk down the stairs. We always walk down the stairs anyway, because that's obviously a lot easier than walking up. But yeah, just some of those minimal things. Or, Chris will walk around our condo. He'll just walk inside and do sort of a couple of circuits of the condo. And he said, it helps me because I'm thinking while I'm doing it, so it doesn't feel like I'm doing it really.
That's right.
Some of those minimal things. Or, a friend of mine said, well, I can't move around very much. I said, but you can sit on your chair and just do arm lifts or leg lifts or things like that. She said, yeah, I never really thought about that. So I think it's, again, we have to start, as you say, somewhere, and just trying to do a little bit every day. It doesn't make it so bad.
And walking is the absolute best thing you can do, because our lymph system, the system that cleans our blood, doesn't get exercised unless we're moving.
Right. Yes.
Right. And it's like a sewage system. If you're not moving that stuff, what's going to happen?
Sludge.
Right? Yeah. So exercise is the only way to really exercise your lymph system.
Yeah.
So if anyone is interested in our work, I would suggest they go to the website. There's a tab that says New Clients. The website is goseesandy.com.
Oh, I should put that in because I have you down as...
It doesn't matter. But Go See Sandy is a lot easier to remember than Wright Health Center and then the spelling and stuff. So
I'll
go there.
There's at the end, and then I'll put it into the feed so people can see it. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a tab that says New Clients, and there's some videos on that tab that I ask people to watch prior to making an appointment. All the paperwork is there. You can fill out the paper, print it out, fill it out before you come in. Make sure you're not pregnant, you're not on prednisone, and you don't have a pacemaker. Otherwise, we won't be able to do the actual computer test. We can still work with you, just not on the actual computer. So if anybody has any questions, feel free.
And I'll get that from you at the very end, and then I'll pop it on the feed so that people can find you there. Because, I appreciate what you've shared today, because I think a lot of us, like a sore leg, why would you assume that it was, something to do with what you were ingesting or not ingesting and those kind of things. So it's helpful to know. And, if you've tried what I call the route of medical professionals and it's not working, then you're there and you're offering this onto. But I tend to go first that direction, and then the medical, if nothing else can be dealt with. So I love that. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Sharing that. So join me next Monday at noon Eastern, where I have another vibrational guest joining me. And on November the 30th, I have Karen Holton with the conversation of intergalactic resettlement program. Yes, I'm quite excited on that one because I have no idea what that's going to be about. So
that sounds interesting.
I know. And later that evening at 7 p.m., myself and Ida Keatley will be holding a full moon meditation and sharing. So the Beaver Frost Moon. Then going into, I will be having more lists of people coming from November onwards, but join me on my YouTube channel. That way you will keep updated with all the different things that are going on. And again, thank you, Sandy, for being here. And again, please give your website, go see Sandy.com. I love it. Go see Sandy.com. And it's absolutely perfect. So
thank you very much, Debbie, for holding this space.
And if you have any questions for Sandy after this feed has gone, check her out on her website, go see sandy.com, or the Wright Healthcare, I think it's wrighthealthcare.com.
Right Health Center.
Healthcenter.com. So, and Cheryl's just said, thank you, ladies, with great information and a few things to ponder. Yes, definitely. So do reach out to Sandy and see how she can assist you. And if you aren't local to Sandy, I'm sure you know people in other areas that you can direct people to, or at least suggest some of the things that they can do for their health and well-being. So again, thank you, and vibrational blessings to everybody watching now or later on. Take care, everyone.
Take care.